that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party.
A head of lettuce has outlived UK Prime Minister Liz Truss, Conservative Prime Minister. And this whole thing is hilarious. So I'm going to cover what has happened in the UK, what cratered Liz Truss and her leadership, and what may come next. So there's a lot of comedy around this, by the way, so I hope you enjoy the ride. Let me start with, of course, the most important piece of this, the lettuce. Here is, so this was set up, I guess, by the Daily Star. Since Liz Truss has been in there, they have had this lettuce there, seeing who would outlive who. And it turns out the head of lettuce still standing as Truss now. Here's a live look as I'm recording this. Truss's picture has now fallen and the lettuce lives. Wow. So Liz Truss is now the shortest serving prime minister in British history. And 10 of those days, the government was shut down or paused over the death of the Queen. This is just amazing. Now, before I get to more details around all of this and some more comedy, let me first show you her statement here. It's very short, so I might as well play the whole thing. Here is Liz Truss resigning.
And our country has been held back for too long by low economic growth. I was elected by the Conservative Party with a mandate to change this. We delivered on energy bills and on cutting national insurance. And we set out a vision for a low-tax, high-growth economy that would take advantage of the freedoms of Brexit. I recognise, though, given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party. This morning I met the chairman of the 1922 committee, Sir Graham Brady. We've agreed that there will be a leadership election to be completed within the next week. This will ensure that we remain on a path to deliver our fiscal plans and maintain our country's economic stability and national security. I will remain as Prime Minister until a successor has been chosen. Thank you.
All right, I lied. I shaved off about 30 seconds there because this is pretty boring. But you see there, Liz Truss gambled on a low-tax, high-growth economy. How'd that work out? Oh, God. So this was from September 24th from the Daily Mail, conservative paper here, saying, "At last, a true Tory budget. Finally, we have the conservative budget that we've been waiting for." Didn't go over so well. Liz Truss, now the least popular UK Prime Minister in the history of polling. To show you how wild this is, look at this shift. Oh my goodness. Conservatives dropping considerably while Labour jumps up in support. Yeah. So what happened? Well, on September 23rd, Truss's finance minister, Kwasi Kwarteng, announced a so-called mini-budget, which began a turbulent period for UK bond markets, which balked at the debt-funded tax cuts he put forward. Most of the policies were reversed 3 weeks later by the second finance minister, Jeremy Hunt, which 3 weeks later is a few days ago. So they just reversed them, which of course led to her resigning because that's why she ran to put this budget in. Just insane. So a little more details here. I'll link to all my sources below the videos always. So if you want to go through this, even deeper, you can. But the important pieces here, they wanted to cut the corporate tax rate from, or canceling a rise in the tax rate from 19% to 25%. So they wanted to cancel that. Income tax, removal of 45% top rate for high earners. Going into how insane this was, this mini budget is a naked exercise in redistributing wealth upwards. Again, I'll link to this piece below the video, but to give you a quick summary here from Al Jazeera. Since the announcement of the new mini budget, the British pound dropped to a 37-year low as the sweeping unfunded tax cuts shook the market. many have flagged that the new budget disproportionately benefits the wealthy. Joe Maugham, director of the Good Law Project, tweeted the budget means that those earning $1 million a year will have £54,400 extra, or $60,000 American extra, in their pockets after tax and national insurance contributions. For those earning £25,000 or $27,000 American, the equivalent figure is about only £280 or $312 American. Hard to imagine a worse response to a cost of living crisis. So, and also the government's tax cuts are expected to cost £45 billion by 2026, 2027. Yeah, a complete disaster. This is what happens when you institute a true Tory budget. Let's hope there are some lessons here, though I highly doubt there will be, considering the wealthy largely control politicians. But this is what happened after she resigned. So the pound is rising. Look at that uptick immediately after Liz Truss resigns. This is where we get to some more comedy. So Harry Cole here, an author, writing back on September 20th. Delighted to say, out of the blue, the inside story of Liz Truss and her astonishing rise to power by myself and this guy here. For HarperCollins will be out for Christmas. So just to give credit to James Heal as well. All right. So her astonishing rise to power. Someone on Twitter writes here, frantic scenes as Harry Cole, the author, tries to secure the rights to the autobiography of the lettuce. So Harry Cole replied to a question about the book. Is it still coming? He says, of course. So there has to be an update to the book, I imagine. Like, you can't just maybe change the title as well. Her astonishing rise and fall from power, I guess, is maybe what to expect there. But pretty funny. Now, also worth mentioning here, before Brexit, Britain had 4 prime ministers over 31 years. Since Brexit, Britain has had 4 prime ministers over 7 years. So we're looking at Theresa May, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, and I guess, well, David Cameron, and now somebody else. So it also means there will, once they put someone else in there, there will have been 3 prime ministers for the UK in 2022 alone. Just remarkable. So a couple last things here. Where will things go from here? So Peter Walker here writing to point out the obvious. It will be hugely difficult for Tory MPs to coalesce around a new leader. Pick a more moderate type like Hunt and the right will explode. Have another go with a right-wing maverick and you risk renewed market chaos and voter despair. Which leads us to, I mean, they're going to have to choose somebody. But then there's going to have to be an election. I mean, there has to be, right? Like, you can't have a tiny fraction of Conservative Party members choose the prime minister over and over again while the rest of the country gets no say at all. So Keir Starmer is renewing calls for immediate general election after Truss resigns. Labour leader attacks revolving door of chaos and says Britain is not Tories' personal fiefdom to run how they wish. So we will see. Of course, not just Labour, all the parties are calling for a, well, minus the Conservatives, are calling for a general election. There doesn't have to be one until 2024 because of the amount of seats that the Tories have. But I guess we'll find out. We'll see where this all goes. It has been, you know, I've kind of covered this or followed this, you know, loosely since Truss became prime minister. But wow, everything just came crashing down immediately, showcasing how wrong the Tories and their supporters were in thinking that cutting taxes for the wealthy was going to be the solution to the problem.